Hello and greetings. My name is Howard Brent. I'm a PhD student in Education Technology at Walden University. This multimedia presentation is about obsolete and emerging technologies. And for this course project, we were asked to select an obsolete and emerging technology and analyze these two technologies using McLuhan's laws of media and the six forces that drive emerging technology. For this presentation, I also interviewed two teachers who have used these technologies with their students in the classroom. One who is a new teacher in the field of education, and the other who has been teaching in the school district for over 30 years. Finally, I will make a speculation about the future of the emerging technology in the field of education. We were asked to find an obsolete technology in our organization and an emerging technology that replaced it. My colleague, Dr. Klimkowski, found a box of Office Max 3.5 IBM formatted diskettes in the teacher's lounge and thought I might be interested in adding them to my collection of obsolete technologies that I have in my classroom. I immediately thought that the digital storage devices would be a great topic for this presentation. The 3.5 floppy disks were used in the 1990s for the purpose of storing digital files and backing up data. These disks hold a maximum of 1.44 megabytes of data and were eventually replaced by the USB flash drive, which holds at least 16 gigabytes of data. More data than 11,000 3.5 floppy disks combined. Most computers today no longer provide drives to support these diskettes. In his article entitled, "When is a Technology Emergent?" Dr. David Thornburg addresses what is an emerging technology and when does it become emergent. Some argue that a technology is emergent if it has not reached mainstream adoption, while others argue that emergence has been reached at the onset of the discovery of the new technology. In any case, an emerging technology, in my opinion, can be considered emerging as a tool that is adopted by users that has the potential to change or improve the performance of a specific task. Cloud computing is the emerging technology that will eventually revolutionize the way we store data. Cloud computing is the use of a network of remote servers to store digital and media files on the internet so that information can be accessed from any device. Cloud computing industry is set to be worth, by the end of 2014, $75 billion. Cloud computing has enhanced a corporation's abilities in communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. Marshall and Eric McLuhan developed 4 laws of media called McLuhan's tetrad, which can be used to explain and analyze the development of emerging technologies. McLuhan's tetrad has 4 quadrants of questions that serve as a visual representation of stages of development for all technology media. In terms of the tetrad for the 3.5 formatted diskettes, in terms of enhancement, what does the technology do that is new? This technology was a disk storage medium that can be read and written by a floppy disk drive on most laptops and PCs from the 1970s well into the 2000s. Its obsolescence, what technology does it obsolete? This technology makes the 8-inch and 5.25-inch floppy diskettes obsolete. The retrieval, what does it rekindle from the past? The 3.5 diskettes rekindles the need to store, record, and write information as a means of communicating with others. And in the past, the following were used. The filing system to maintain pertinent documents and paperwork, digital machines that were used, such as punch cards, and also the use of email. Reversal, what does it change into the near future? The need for more data storage due to advancements in technology has caused many users to be frustrated with such little space. By 2010, most companies stopped installing floppy disk drives, and replaced them with USB drives, which became the new storage device most commonly used. In terms of the tetrad for cloud computing, the enhancement quadrant, what does the technology do that is new? This technology is a storage medium where users are able to access their digital media files from any device, such as a laptop, tablet, smartphone, so long as these devices have internet access. Obsolescence, what technology does it obsolete? This technology makes both the floppy diskette and eventually the USB flash drive storage mediums obsolete. Retrieval. In the retrieval quadrant, what does it rekindle from the past? It rekindles the need to communicate and collaborate with others across time and space on ideas and projects. Reversal. What does it change into the near future? The use of cloud computing has increased the fear of cybersecurity and loss of personal identity and privacy. So even though one's able to access their information from any device, they are giving up a sense of security in terms of their personal information and identity. Emerging technologies. These questions were, the following questions were questions that I asked when I interviewed two of the teachers that used the obsolete and emerging technologies. The questions were as follows. Explain what your current role is at Thomas Pullen K-8 Arts Academy. What storage devices do you currently use with your students and how are they being used? Do you use 3.5 IBM formatted diskettes? If it is being used, explain how, and if not, and if it's not being used, explain why not. Do you use cloud computing as a storage device, and if so, explain how it's being used. If not, explain why not. Share your thoughts about where you think the future of this technology is headed in your specific field and in education. All right, I'm here with Mr. Jonathan Spinks. He's a school teacher here at Thomas Pullen Arts Academy. And Mr. Spinks, can you please explain to us what your role is here at the Arts Academy?
Sure. My role at the Arts Academy is to carry out the position of the media arts teacher, also teaching television productions. So media arts would be considered the full scope of media, which would be public speaking, video editing, photography editing, script writing. That's it.
Oh, okay. And so that means you need, being that you're dealing with a lot of media and filming and equipment and all, that means you need storage devices that can help best meet your needs and the kids' needs. Can you explain to me how you use storage devices and what devices do you use?
Absolutely. Well, the reasoning for using storage devices are so that we don't crash the computers. Dealing with photography, dealing with videography, those are things that clog the computers up in a heartbeat. So Some of the storage devices we use are lacy terabytes. We might use up to 1 terabyte of storage in 2 or 3 months, just storing video. An idea of how much 1 terabyte is the size of 3 desktop computers.
Wow.
That's the storage. A desktop computer normally stores about 300 gigs of storage. So we'll use 1 terabyte, and we'll run through that in about a month. So throughout the year, we may go through about 5 or 6 terabytes of hard drive.
All right. So then, do you recall the 3.5 IBM floppy diskettes? You can buy them in the box. And
Yes.
those
Absolutely.
Would you use that, or are they useful to you at all?
I believe they're still useful at some point, depending on the curriculum that you teach and depending on the software and the computers that you use.
But I'm saying more specifically with you and your kids.
Oh, me and my kids, no, definitely.
So they're
definitely
obsolete,
not.
right?
Absolutely.
Why?
Absolutely. The reason why it's obsolete is because I feel that they're more so for saving documents. The type of storage that it is and how much storage that it is. When we're doing media or any multimedia project, we need that disk or that external hard drive to kick back information right now. And I don't think, from my experience, that 3.5 floppy disk has the power, the speed, and the memory to do so.
Exactly. And so that's why, hence, they're obsolete, especially in your field. What about cloud computing? Cloud computing, if you're not familiar with that terminology, is where you can just save and store all of your media on the internet.
Absolutely.
Do you use any of that at all? Is that useful so that you can access these media files from any device, that kind of thing?
We use a bit of the cloud. Hence, a little joke. What I hear often is nobody understands the cloud. So at times you may not understand or know how much storage you have within clouds, and then at the same time you may not know where your information is being stored. So as a bit of a safety net and protecting the things that you do film and the things that you are trying to store, we try and stay away from using the cloud. So we'll use external hard drives to store our information. But the cloud is pretty good because at the same time you're not storing on your external hard drives, and then you're not storing on your computers. So to store on the internet is pretty good. You just have to understand where that storage and where that footage is going and be okay with that.
Okay. And then last question is, where do you see the future of this technology in terms of storage devices? Where do you see the future of this technology going?
The future of technology is our future. I think I'll flip that around. We're in the technological age right now, so everything is being converted to technology. Some for better, some for worse. I think it adds to us and it takes away. But as far as within external hard drives, I feel like we're going to have to find a program on the internet within the cloud that makes our lives easier and works for everybody. It's going to be a time where external hard drives are like those 3.5 floppy disks and they're extinct. And, just like DVDs or cassette tapes, they're going to hit its mark when they run out on us too. So using the internet and using the cloud is going to have to come a time where we do use that. It's just a matter of when and how they make it fit for all of us.
All right. Well, we want to thank you so much, Mr. Spinks, for your time and for sharing your thoughts in terms of storage devices and how it's useful in the classroom today in media arts.
Appreciate it, Mr. Brent.
All right. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
All right, the next person I'm interviewing is Ms. Cresswell. She's also a teacher here at Thomas Pullen Arts Academy. And Ms. Cresswell, thank you so much for agreeing to this interview with me. Can you please explain to me, to the listeners, what your role is here at the Arts Academy?
All right, here at Thomas Pullen, I am a reading language arts teacher. I teach grades 6 and 7, and I've been teaching for over 30 years.
Wow, wow. So you've seen actually the development of technology over the years in terms of how technology is being used in the classroom, and more specifically, how we use storage devices like the floppy disks and the cloud computing now, where everything now can be saved on the internet. Can you please tell me what storage devices do you use currently with your kids and with your students, and how it's being used?
Currently, I use the flash drive, and for each year, I've been at Thomas Pullen for about 10 years, and for each year, believe it or not, I have a flash drive for each year. You know, and I use it to save a lot of information because I'm an internet surfer, and I like to find different ways to, teach a particular topic, and what I do, I just, save the information to that floppy disk, and then, I can project it to the screen. So my visually, a lot of kids are visually
Visual learning.
visual learners, and that kind of helps them.
So, in other words, you use the storage devices to save documents or anything to share with your kids.
Yes.
And using the overhead projector or
Overhead
in
projector,
order to
and I
give
also use the visualizer.
Okay.
Visualizer.
How did the kids use it in the classroom? The flash
Um,
drive.
the flash drives, well, in the back of my room I have 6 computers, and they really can't print anything out. So I tell them, while you're working, to save your work, you need to have a flash drive.
Great.
And then a lot of times when they have to do PowerPoints, they save their information to the flash drive, and they bring the flash drive into class, for their presentation.
Why the flash drive and not remember the 3.5 millimeter
Oh,
diskettes? Why not those?
Those have been gone.
Wow.
Believe it or not, I just threw out a bunch of those floppy disks.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to love them, not realizing that the flash drives would come later.
Right. But you don't use those anymore. Why?
I don't. Well, one thing, the laptop that I have
Don't.
doesn't have the drive.
The slot for it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
they don't have the slot. Now I do have an old hard drive that I can still use. But all the information that was on the floppy disk, I've transferred those to either my hard drive or to the flash drives.
Okay, great. Where do you see the future of saving student work and using storage devices in the classroom? Do you see kind of a trend where we're headed in terms of storage devices in education?
Yeah, within the next 10 years, they probably will be using something else other than the flash drive.
Have you heard of cloud computing, like
I've heard of that,
being able to upload their work in their backpacks and that kind of thing?
Yeah, and right now, I guess because my age, I'm kind of skeptical about using iCloud. Doesn't that leave you open to your information open to anyone who wants to see
So
it?
security can also be an issue. Yeah.
And see, I'm more of a private person. So,
All right. Well, thank you so much. You've been great. I thank you for helping me with this assignment and being able to meet the requirements. And I'm sure our listeners enjoyed listening to how you're using it and also the future trend in terms of storage devices.
I hope so.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
All right.
having me.
Now let's discuss the 6 forces that drive emerging technologies. The 6 forces that drive emerging technologies for the 3.5 IBM formatted diskettes are as follows. The first is, one force is evolutionary technology. A technology is considered evolutionary if an emerging technology is a progression or growth of a previous technology. In 1971, IBM introduced the 8-inch floppy disk, which had a storage capacity of 79.7 kilobytes and was read-only. A read-write version came a year later. Then in 1976, Sugar developed the 5.25-inch floppy disk to fit in the standard desktop computers, which had a storage capacity of 110 kilobytes. The next progression was witnessed in 1978. A double-sided 5.5-inch floppy disk was introduced, which increased the storage capacity to 360 kilobytes. And then finally in 1981, the 3.5-inch floppy disk was developed, which had an increased storage capacity of 1.44 megabytes and included a metal cover that made it harder to damage the magnetic film inside. Rhymes of history. Rhymes of history is the effect of an emerging technology that rekindles something from the past. The development of computer storage devices have rekindled the need to communicate clear and complex ideas and to record these ideas over long distances and time for the sake of the development of human society. In 2000 BC, papyrus was developed as an early form of paper made from the pith of the papyrus plant. Cyprus papyrus first used in ancient Egypt and throughout the Mediterranean region. Disruptive technology. A technology is disruptive when it's a new technology that suddenly appears and creates a new way of thinking about a task. Now, I wouldn't consider the 3.5 floppy disks as a disruptive technology, but more of an evolutionary technology, as we just discussed. However, improvements to the floppy disks have been made. For instance, increased memory of the 1.44 megabytes, the metal covering used to protect the inside of a disk, and the smaller size of the disk. Science fiction. A new technology that emerges from a science-based science fiction. Star Trek, a science fiction television series created by Gene Roddenberry, first aired on NBC in 1966. Star Trek characters used the small plastic discs for data storage similar to the 3.5-inch floppy diskettes, way before they first appeared in the 1990s. That could be inserted into a computer consoles. Increasing returns. Through competition between two technologies, one becomes the chosen technology, displacing the other. Increasing returns is not the best way to explain the force between this innovation because not one company prevailed over the others to be the chosen technology, displacing the others. So the competition, however, is witnessed between Verbatim, Maxell, Fuji, Film, and IBM, but not one specific company outperformed the other. Red Queens. Through competition between two technologies, the rapid development of technologies to remain strategically competitive with each other. In 1973, Sugar Associates became the dominant manufacturer of 8-inch floppy disk drives, making the SA800 the industry standard. In 1976, IBM introduced the 500 kilobyte double-sided single density format. And in 1977, IBM introduced the 1 and 1.5 megabyte double-sided double density format. Other 8-inch floppy disk formats, such as the Bureau's 1 megabyte unit, failed to achieve market presence due to this stiff competition. So that's the only time in terms of the history of the 3.5 formatted diskettes, and it wasn't even with the 3.5 formatted diskette, but with the diskettes itself, did there did I witness did I see the Red Queens being exhibited in this instance. The competition of 3.5 megabytes formatted diskettes was primarily between IBM PC compatible versus Apple. For instance, Apple introduced the Macintosh in 1984 that used single-sided 3.5-inch disk drives. PC compatible computers began to use them later. In 1986, Apple introduced a double-sided version. PC-compatible computers, in order to keep up with the competition, began to use them. In 1987, IBM introduced the high-density formatted disk, having the storage capacity of 1.44 megabytes. Apple started using HD in 1988. So we do witness some competition in the form of Red Queens between both Apple and PC compatible computers. Now, in terms of the 6 forces that drive emerging technologies in cloud computing, evolutionary technology, computer data device storage has evolved from the use of devices such as the formatted floppy diskettes, flash drives, and external hard drives to cloud computing storage. Cloud computing allows users to store data on the internet using multiple servers, generally hosted by third parties, which allows access of information from various devices, such as tablets, smartphones, desktops, and laptops. Rhymes of history. The rhymes of history would be the same as mentioned previously. However, not only does cloud computing rekindle the need for sharing and communicating ideas, it also allows users to collaborate with one another across time and space. Disruptive technology. I believe that cloud computing, the force that best describes cloud computing is disruptive technology. The graph below, the graph shows how the emergent disruptive technology begins to take off once the incumbent technology, in this case the incumbent technology would be the storage data devices such as the floppy disks. Once the floppy disks have absorbed the market, then the emergent disruptive technology, cloud computing, begins to take over or to emerge. Cloud computing has disrupted the technology of storage devices and has allowed us to access information from any device that has access to the internet. Cloud computing has increased storage capacity, making it possible to store large amounts of data such as videos and multimedia projects using the internet. So even though this is a very new emerging technology, it is disruptive in that it has the potential to change the way we think about or the way we actually store digital media files and data. Science fiction. In science fiction, and once again, such as Star Trek and Star Wars, characters have had the capability of accessing and manipulating data from the cloud at any time and from any device. Increasing returns. Stiff competition between companies that offer cloud services such as Amazon, Verizon, and Google. Also, even Edmodo is a social networking site that offers cloud storage services to teachers and students for free. So, in terms of increasing returns, we're now starting to see competition between these companies to emerge. Red Queens. Red Queens is not the driving force of cloud computing in the field of education as of yet. So it's very new. So there aren't any signs of red queens as of yet, but there is competition once again between major companies such as Amazon, Verizon, and Google. In terms of the future of cloud computing in the field of education, cloud computing right now allows teachers and students the capability of accessing digital media files from any device that has access to the internet. For example, Edmodo, a social media site for education, provides storage space for both teachers and students. Cloud computing will be a ubiquitous technology and will eventually evolve to where students and teachers will have unlimited amounts of storage space. This is because the use of videos and multimedia in the classrooms will increase. In summary, as 3.5 IBM formatted floppy diskettes become obsolete, cloud computing will become ubiquitous, providing teachers and students large storage capabilities or capacities for multimedia digital files. As cloud computing reaches critical mass in education, issues of cybersecurity and privacy may need to be addressed to ensure safety of internet use by children, especially. Cloud computing will enhance classroom instructional activities that allow for asynchronous and synchronous collaboration with others in the classrooms or with other students around the world. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.